What's up? What's up? What's up, Rattler Nation?
Good morning.
We're here on a unique day, right? It's a Saturday morning, getting your midday started. But we have a special show. So we told you we would do something special, and we wanted to make sure that we came to you all to kind of have a unique type show that allows us to come together as a community. We just had some big news drop on us, right? That we're all excited about. So we want to kind of dig and dive and delve into that type of that information. So come on in. Let us know in the chat where you are, what you're doing today on this good Saturday. Are you relaxing? Do you have errands to run? Are you listening to us from your car, from your bed, wherever you listen to us from? Chime in with us. Let us know. Talk to us. And we have an exciting show coming up, right, Shay? So we have a
Absolutely.
community,
Absolutely.
the Rattler,
FAMU is a community. That's what we,
right?
we
It's the
got. The
family,
brand is
right? So
family, right? So we
why
had to
not
get
bring
together for
everybody
this.
in? Why not include
Absolutely.
everybody, right? So what we're gonna do, we have quite a few guests and with us today through Fang Exchange. We're gonna have an opportunity to discuss our newly released 2025 football schedule. So with that in mind, we thought it was a good idea to kind of bring our sister shows and family in to talk about it with us. So we have Fangs Up podcast. We will have O&G Strikezone, some of our representation, as well as Gerald Thomas from the Tallahassee Democrat. All of us have a vested interest in Florida A&M, Florida A&M athletics, Florida A&M football. So let's get it started. Why don't we go ahead and bring everybody up so that we can get this conversation going? So we're gonna first bring in Fangs Up, Mr. Keith Hatley. What's going on, Keith?
All is well, man. All is well. How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Doing
All is
well.
well. Thank you for
Well,
coming and kicking it with us.
thank you for coming. We have O&G. We have Representative Mr. Marcus Green coming in with us to represent our other FAMU Lead podcast, O&G Strike Zone. What's up, Marcus?
Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody's
Good
doing well.
morning. We are. Thank you for joining us.
And then we will have another guest potentially coming in later in the show. But right now we have also Gerald Thomas, who looks like he's listening from the car, like I said.
Yeah.
Hey, Gerald, what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on,
Good
everybody? Happy
morning.
y'all can have me. Just out and about on this Saturday. Just left my little brother basketball game. It was a nail biter, but it came out with the victory.
Hey,
So
that's all
Oh,
all
that
is well.
matters, right?
All is well this morning.
yes.
Right. Good. Winners win, right?
Well, you
So
know it.
yeah. So we have, it's a unique looking show. We have some people on the panel. We're going to give some exciting, extensive conversation about our schedule, game by game. We're going to let my Fangs Up brother take the lead and take us on to the rest of the show. What's going on, Keith?
Oh man, not much, man. If you will click that, look, you gotta click the little doodad there, to refresh so we can pull it up there so folks can see our graphic there. But right now, just really getting excited, man. Have our different groups that are represented here, and just really kind of want to, create your own juice. So, as y'all can see, they got a little video for us. Make sure the audio's good. Look, y'all know we try to stay out of trouble, so that's why we're going to not get demonetized. That first game, though. First
Right.
game. How y'all feel about that? Y'all can see a little B2A, little celebration. Ain't no place like
Yeah,
brag.
yeah. I love
And
that
first
video.
game.
Like, man, that mashup of the previous games that represent each team will play for the most part. If we had some video footage, I love the way they put it together.
I love it. I love it. I love, I miss Daniel Richardson, the kind of, but I'm loving seeing some of my favorite receivers up here. Told y'all about Quan Lee, Ace Cobb. So I'm liking the video. I like the game at FAU. I think that's a cool trip. I would do want to hear some of the different background as far as how that's going to come out to play. But I think our graphics department continues to like show up. I think that's what you're seeing in this one. Just kind of getting you a little hype, getting you excited for the upcoming season. Who we playing?
Yeah, I have not seen, especially in the HBCU space, and I've been looking around. I have not seen a release like this. Now, y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but this schedule drop it very much it was very typical of FAMU,
Mhm.
but it was just really it got me hyped. I don't know how many times I watched it. I'm still watching it. I
I
watched it
mean,
this
I was ready
morning.
to go. I was ready to go to a game that night. I was like,
Really,
"Do we have
I
a
have
game today?"
watched it 20 times. They did a great job.
Mhm.
They
Yes,
did a
they
really
I,
did.
great job.
I do like the video, and I'm encouraged by the video drop release following um, some of the precedents set by some of the NFL and and WNBA teams. And I know
Hmm.
my hometown, just about all the professional teams there drop schedule release videos and use different techniques, whether it be animation or popular folks around in and around Atlanta that show the showcase Atlanta. So I think this is a good stepping stone. I'm looking forward to even more schedule releases and even more creativity being used. But I do like this.
I
Oh,
love it. I do wish we could add
I
a
need
little
that
Fang
graphic.
Exchange in there, though.
You say what? You wish you could have did what?
I wish we could add a little Fang Exchange on there. And what were you saying
Oh,
at the end there, Marcus?
No, I need that graphic. I put that
I
up on my
got you.
screensaver every year, and I haven't seen it released yet.
I got you. I'll text it to you later.
Okay, okay.
Don't trust me. I find my way
Take a
of getting
screenshot.
things. Ain't got to take no screenshot. I got you,
yeah,
Marcus.
you.
No, I need the full resolution for my Windows backdrop,
I know that's
Windows
right.
desktop. Now,
So
starting off,
yeah,
go
come
ahead,
on,
Keith.
Marcus. No, you got it. Come on.
Well, hold on.
This is a very interesting matchup. I mean, because for two reasons. One, the history between Howard and FAMU, not only the first
Right.
OBC that was ever played, but more recently, our time in the MEAC. And those last few years, Howard was coming up and the 2023 Celebration Bowl.
Hmm.
And I guess that's one thing. The other aspect of it is just looking at the schedule, the next step in looking at the schedule is looking at the teams to see how you match up. And with everything going on in the portal and high school recruiting and things going basically through the summer with transfers, you don't really know who's
You
on
have
your
no
team
clue.
until then. So it
Hmm.
may be a challenge. You could look at who's coming back and see what talent's being lost. But it's kind of hard to tell what talent's being gained until the full roster is there in spring. But I think it'll be a good matchup, and I think it'll be a typical MEAC matchup, especially with the way that Coach Colsey is starting to construct our roster.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Give us
Do you
one
think
second,
that
y'all.
this
Let's
game?
let's bring in Kelvin is joining in with us. Let me
Okay.
bring him in real quick, and then we can keep the conversation. Wait
Mhm.
a second. He went out. I'm sorry. He
Oh,
was just
okay.
in there. I was gonna add him in, but we'll wait. Go ahead.
From so let me ask you from what we're bringing back, like you said, of course most of what we will know we won't find out until the spring, and then even after that, because we know the portal will open up again. But from what we know of what we're bringing it back, where do you think we win this game? Like in the trenches, is it going to be a defensive game? Like what do you think? What's your ideas on, or your take on this?
Keith, did you want to go? Or do you want me to? Or
I'll let you
Gerald?
keep going. No, you flow. You're flowing, man.
Think
I
it's going to
mean,
be in the trenches
Yeah.
because we knew that was the biggest issue, especially on the defensive line last year, where we gave up a lot of run. And Howard's going to be typical. And I don't know if Edrin James and the other young man, I was looking at the roster, I know they're listed as grad students. So I don't know if they're coming back. Uh, Jared Hunter. So they're going to keep a solid running game. So we're going to have to do something
Hmm.
to combat that because coming out of last season, that's going to be the first thing every team tests to see how
Yeah.
much sturdiness we have up front. So like I said, I would expect a typical MEAC type matchup with against Howard.
I agree. I was saying the same thing. I believe that this game is going to be one in the trenches, and I hope to see that we continue to recruit up front, because yeah, that was our we struggled a little bit last year with that.
Yeah, come on, jump in, Gerald.
yeah, man. I'm excited. Go back to Miami for the OBC. So it's gonna be a very exciting time. I mean, Howard. And like y'all said, it's a Celebration Bowl rematch. How we're gonna bring, that Smash Mouth type of football that they were playing in the Celebration Bowl, and also it's kind of a good way because I mean both teams feel like they underachieved last year. Howard didn't have the best season last year, and of course Fam didn't have the best season last year neither. So it'll provide like an early barometer of where you stand at with teams that's on your level as opposed to maybe starting the season out, against a University of Miami or something like
Yeah.
a team of that nature. So, and also me and Coach talked about, he was like, you get to see where your team at very early playing a game versus Howard. But the OBC always a good time. And I know it's going to be exciting, being back in Miami after that one year that 1 year hiatus. But yeah, I think FAMU and Howard, that's gonna be a good start to the football season right there.
What do we think about the travel? Because I mean, I went to the Celebration Bowl when we played Howard, and they were there, but they were, we were there. What do y'all think about the travel? Do you think that with this, of course, OBC is during Labor Day weekend. Do you feel like or Howard will travel well? I have my thoughts. What do y'all think?
I ain't never worried about them. I mean, for me, when it comes to the OBC, it's all about FAMU. Like, and that's
Yeah.
not being a biased fan, but that's just being like looking at the numbers. Like, look at every OBC. FAMU fans have dominated in attendance. Maybe the first one with Dion was kind of close, but even
Yeah.
still, like the last couple, like FAMU by themselves brought darn near 20,000 fans. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that concerned about Howard fans. I think they're going to show up though. Like if you go back and you remember when Howard played FAMU, that was one of the few games where they actually had a nice, decent contingency. And they could lead a band at home. They kind of suck, but that's okay. I'm not being biased. I'm just being honest. But I think it's going to be a decent attendance. It's a little bit of wine and cheese, so it's going to be fun. As long as the game time is right, it's going to be straight. Because I think this is a game where you got to sell the party. Like we know what Howard is, we know what FAMU is, and we know how both fan bases are. Both fan bases can travel. So I think you're going to get a good 25, 30,000.
In total, you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. About 20 are going to be family fans.
Kelvin,
I'm sorry.
you're on mute.
Them shots fired too.
I just saying. I'm just saying.
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can hear
Most
you.
certainly.
We got you, cuz.
Man, bruh, if you only knew what I've been going through this morning with this update my computer did 10 minutes before we were supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Oh.
But in terms of attendance for the game, I think it'd be similar to Jackson State the first time around. And the Rattlers gonna carry it, all right. Howard is not known for traveling. Well, I will say though, their alumni has money, and Miami is a attractive enough area with a lot of things to do, so it'll attract some of the celebrities. That'll probably be on Swole. But attendance, I think 30 to 35,000 is probably reasonable. And I like the matchup. We playing someone from Old Met 4. We have had a lot of success. I think they only beat us like 5 times out of about 40.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
what we need to do is just jump on them early. But I'm glad to be back in OBC. First of all, let me say that. Uh, you know, it makes money, so it makes sense, right? And then it's a market that's very attractive. A lot of our students, fan base, alumni, you name it, is in that area. So um, it's more than just a football game. Having a presence in a large event like that in that particular area where there's probably at least 1.5 to 2 million black people alone,
Mm-hmm.
if you include the tri area, it just makes sense. So um, kudos to AD Suggs for making that happen, and I'm extremely excited. So much so that I'm looking to stay up for a week since we come back the next week.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna just throw a little monkey wrench in the pot. Uh, who else would y'all like to see us play in the OBC? If we didn't play Howard, what's another matchup you would like to see in South Florida Labor Day weekend?
North Carolina A&T.
Me too.
You stole that. Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
A&T, absolutely.
And third would be for me would be Tennessee State.
I would say TSU.
That's-
That was my other one.
Now,
That was
That-
my other one.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
like that. That's a good one. That's
If
a
you
good
want to
one.
throw a monkey in the wrench, and you could just kind of be funny about this. I don't know if our rivalry is not strong enough, but it would be fun to have Morehouse do that. I think their
Morehouse?
alumni base would appreciate it. I don't know how many they would actually bring, but I think that's kind of like how Howard and Morehouse go to Washington D.C. I think that's Miami's one of those exotic places where, especially with the private schools, I think it has that appeal to it. It has that other appeal where people want to go out, do certain kind of things as well. So I don't know. I think some of those would be some of the fun invites.
I like to see Tuskegee. If we're talking about just a fun invite, I think a
Mhm.
Tuskegee matchup would be nice.
Mhm. And to your point, I was just thinking, I guess the historical Big Six in HBCU
Yeah.
football. I mean, at least three or four of them in the SWAC, so that's already a conference game. So um, that only leaves A&T. Well, I don't know that leaves Tuskegee, Tennessee State, and that may be it because they have Grambling, Southern,
Southern and Jackson.
and Jackson is the other of the
Hmm.
Big Six historically for HBCU. So yeah, the only two that are outside of that, and A&T they're not necessarily considered in the Big Six, but just their draw and their recent success before they
Yeah.
went to the CAA.
Hmm. Yeah, they have their one.
Sorry about that. Trying to resize the layout for us to look a little, but it's fine.
It's not letting you do it. No worries, no worries.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Mm.
So I think kind of got a pretty good consensus on this one.
Mhm.
I'm with y'all as far as I think the game's going to be one in the trenches, but one of the things we may not be looking at when you look at Howard, especially, you kind of have to look, especially remember that offensive line they had against FAMU was kind of massive, and FAMU's
Hmm.
defensive line still had pretty good night. You know, we had our moments, but I think overall it's going to be a good game. I don't know if y'all ready to predict wins and losses. We're gonna save that. I know Gerald, he gonna be ready. I ain't gonna call no
Way too
names, but
early. Way,
Way too early for
way
predictions,
too
right?
early. But let me say this too. I think a big question mark for both teams right now is that quarterback position, in
Mhm.
my opinion. And that's both teams. I think until we can really see what that is talking about. I mean, I'm willing to do a way too early prediction because I'm always going with family. In my mind, we going 12-0. But you know what I'm saying? Realistically speaking, we talking about realistic. I need to see the quarterback position for us and even for them because it's still a big question mark over that for both schools.
I love it. I agree.
Agree, agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
And
fun
I
times.
think, yeah, the emphasis on the run game and defensive line, especially the first game, is going to be because we don't know who's the quarterback right now, but anyone who comes in, whether it be Tyler Jefferson, whether
Right. Hmm. A
uh,
new guy.
new guy, whether junior wins the
Yeah.
job, there's going to be someone who's going to be fresh and new as the starting quarterback for FAMU. So
Right.
that
Yeah.
first game, you're going to need that run game. You're going to need some defense until everybody gets settled.
And I'll say that I did like the way in those last few games, I liked the way that Birds had the run game trending,
Yeah.
towards the end. It
Absolutely.
was trending up. So, I have great confidence that we'll look a lot better in the run game this year and it won't be game 5 or 6 before we get our first rushing TD.
Some more shots. Some more shots.
Look,
I love y'all. I love y'all. Okay.
hey, it can't get much worse than what it was. I think the other thing, because we talk about this for homecoming, but especially considering this weekend, Rattler fans, y'all, you better get your travel right. Like the
Man.
next day, Miami plays Notre Dame. Those are two private schools where the alumni base got a lot of money. Them hotel prices, granted, it's a big city. That don't mean them hotel prices won't get stupid. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't stay in Miami when I go down there. I stay at like Dania Beach, and we find another spot up there near Fort Lauderdale, where we stayed and made that little trip down. But it was nice too, better than where we stayed. But I think that may be something else just to kind of start thinking about your accommodations, how you gonna get there. If you're in Central Florida, you're gonna do the bright line and try to do a turn and
Bright
burn.
line all
Like
the way.
Yeah.
figure that thing out now, because
Yeah.
promise you, don't wait till 2 weeks before decide to find a hotel because it's gonna hurt.
Get an Airbnb. I'm from South Florida. I'm a South Florida rattler. I live in Atlanta now, but my home is South Florida. So I thank God I don't have to have accommodations. I go to my mama's house. but definitely just do Airbnb. That's the easiest way to do it. And do Airbnb before Airbnb catches on. That's the easiest way because the hotels are going to be done because it's Labor Day weekend period. So they're going to
Mhm.
be highly, the cost is going to be high.
JT and Lil Baby seem to think that offensively we should be much improved, with some new leadership on the offensive side. So, that's something to look forward to. It's way too early right now to say anything for sure, but that's something to look forward to and to look up and kind of have our eyes out about.
Absolutely. We're moving on to the next game. Are we done? Are all hearts and minds clear on the OBC?
all
Next.
minors, they were good, but we still in South Florida. Kelvin staying the
We're
whole week.
good. Yeah. So is that
All right,
so
Kelvin.
I'm questioned
Yeah,
about that.
I know who I'm staying with.
We all gonna
Is
crash Kelvin. Kelvin must go have him a nice Airbnb. We gonna have to go have a party at Kelvin place.
football team going up and down? Are they doing it twice or are they just staying that week? Do we know?
Don't know. Too early.
Too
I'm
Yeah,
early
my
to know.
assumption. My assumption is though that they will go and come back.
yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I
That's
So
think
does
this
wild.
that
was
so does that pose
Oh.
like I mean reminiscent of jet lag, tiresome, go come back ride. It's a long ride. I don't know if it's a flight or a bus ride. And does it pose like the body type not wear and tear because I mean it's just a ride, but the travel of it. If that happens in that way.
Anytime it's always that you got to worry about the travel when you traveling more than six. Because I would assume I know the OBC last year they flew, right? I mean not last year but the year before last when we were in it they flew, correct?
they've flown down the last
Correct.
couple of years down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Football team, I believe every year is flown
yeah.
in the
So it's
recent era.
so it's potential that they could potentially fly both times, depending on how the budgets and the deal worked out. That
Yeah.
might
What's the
be
payout? What's the payout
beneficial.
for FAU? Has that been released yet?
Don't know.
Yeah,
Don't have that
I haven't heard
information.
of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, Gerald. You can get that FOIA.
Yeah, go request the documents, Gerald. I know Gerald, you can definitely get it. Um, I this matchup for me, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let y'all have it.
You know what? I love this matchup. I mean, you playing an FBS team, and you're actually playing like I got my feelings about money games, but really the money games that comes against the SECs, the ACC teams. So I think this is a good money game right here with just playing the team that's in the American Athletic Conference. I believe that's the name of it. I think that's a good matchup because you're playing up, but you're not playing
Yeah,
over your head in a
yeah.
sense. So
Right.
and
Yeah.
even like when they went to Troy last year, like they me
They should have
personally,
won that
I feel like they
game.
should have
They
won that
should have
game.
won that
Me
game.
You
too.
know,
I
Absolutely,
you're
agree.
playing, yeah. So
absolutely.
you're playing more so on your level. Yes, you gotta make two trips within a week, basically to the same place. But um, it'll be good. The guys on the team need these type of games against the FBS teams because I mean these are the games that scouts look at. But it's also good that it's not a sense where you're out there, getting 50 points scored on you, anything like that.
Yeah,
You actually may feel like you actually have a chance to win. So I love this matchup right here.
Yep. And this
yeah,
game is also another measuring stick. Like it's the second
Yep.
game of the season. We'll be able to go and play FBS level competition, and depending on how we fare, that kind of can give us potentially an outlook to how the coaches scheme things, as well as how the players, line up and compete with the other players on the other side of the ball. Because if we're being honest, this might be the some of the toughest competition we'll play. And if it's early, that gives us an idea of what we could do against when we get into conference play and things of that nature.
yeah. So my thought about it wasn't. I don't mind the FBS games. I know that from a players' perspective, they love to play these games. I was just kind of hoping we would play FIU just for the culture with Coach Simmons being at FIU, and I mean when I tell you that would have brought the city out. Like I said, I'm from South Florida. That would have brought everybody out. I would have loved to have played FIU. So I think FAU is going to be a hard. It's going to be a hard crowd to get fans there, and I don't know if the band will be traveling. I don't know if the 100 will make this trip. But I know with Rattlers having to make back-to-back trips to Miami, that might be a lot. And if they're going to pick and choose, I know most of them are probably going to go with the OBC. And I thought that, like I said, I felt like that would bring a lot more engagement if we were playing. I was hoping it was FIU, but that was my reason for saying about the matchup. I wasn't unsure.
Mm, I don't know if Coach Simmons would be looking forward to a matchup with FAMU. So soon, if at all. I don't know. It might be kind of, you don't want to. I mean, if you were like a Nick Saban when you're giving your old school like when he played Sanford, like a leg up or some money. But I don't know if we want to, if Coach Simmons is going to step out that far, especially with all the, the recent departure and basically like half his staff were former FAMU coaches or administrative staff. So it's like, like a homecoming, but kind of like, I don't know.
Now I like this game because it's a first year head coach. I mean, FAU's got a
Yes.
first year head coach, and the crazy thing about this schedule, the nerd in me just kicked in. This is the first time I think FAMU has played every team on the schedule at home before. FAU came to Tallahassee because I was at that game in 2004, and so I was like, I remember us playing them, and they came to brag and they won. But I think it's just small things like that kind of for the fan in me, it makes it feel like a little better, but also you have the familiarity on the other side of the field. You start looking, we have, I know Ace was at FAU. Of course, Daniel was at FAU. Kelvin Dean was at FAU. So there's a connection between the two programs on the field as well. So I think it's a good battle for us. You get a first year head coach, and it's a potentially a winnable game. I mean, you kind of start looking around, not saying they ain't the greatest, but they just got a new head coach. So this is a game that it's winnable, and it's in a spot where you're getting another inexperienced coach where hopefully, Cozy can show he's got some chops and take advantage of some stuff.
Hmm.
Let me just add facility. I visited that stadium. It's a very nice stadium. The campus is pretty nice. It's not that hard to get to. So, and from what I understand, just like with most of our FBS games that we schedule, there's some kind of rider in there for the band if the band comes. So, usually they make those decisions down the line. What I would tell
Mhm.
you is, though, I know this particular AD believes that the band is important part of the game day experience and the sport and the team. So I think she's taking a interest in trying to find different creative ways to help out with band
Mhm.
travel.
Mhm.
So it would not shock me if the band does come down for this game. You gotta also remember the band director at FAU was here, is a Rattler. So there's a lot
Okay.
of connections in that sense too. FAU was not a very good team last year. So new coach, not a very good team. I never predict the FCS, FBS because everything has to go right. But it's another game just like Troy. We definitely can be competitive in.
Mhm.
And you're at a weird place in their schedule. Their first game of the schedule, they go to Maryland, so they're going to go up there to, I believe it's College Park. Then the
Hmm.
next game, they're going a few, a little bit down the street to play Old Willie. So you got a rivalry game right after this FAMU game. Look, this is a trap game. I'm sorry. If I'm an FAU fan, this
Yeah.
is a trap game. This smells like Limburger cheese and it stinks. This is a trap game because you're between where you're playing up. You're playing a Big Ten team the week before. Then the next week you're playing your arch rival. And in between you got FAMU and you got a
Mhm.
first year head coach. Yo, look, I would not want to be coaching in this one with that schedule the way it's lined up.
I guess it's time to go and scout FAU. See. We all think we on the football coaching staff. So let me go do some scouting and see what they got over there in the cupboard.
They don't know either. Don't nobody know. With the portal, nobody knows.
April gonna hit and it might look totally different, right?
It is. It will. Some people gonna jump ship. Some depth charts gonna start coming out.
Definitely a game you want to sit in the press box, though. You can literally see the ocean from the stadium.
Hmm.
All right.
Okay, looks like we good on the FAU game. So first home game, you welcome a Rattler back home again. Quinn
That's
Gray
right.
is going to be
Yeah.
bringing those Albany State Rams from about an hour and a half up. Hopefully, they stop to the salsa store and bring something down. But they're coming down to Tallahassee to catch another L. How y'all feel about this one?
Well,
Home
I,
opener.
Absolutely.
I like not only having Albany State come in because they've had pretty good seasons under Quinn, under QG, but also looking at the first three games and before the bye, we get, as Ashley was saying earlier, a true test to see what kind of team we have. We have a peer team in Howard. We have one level up, if you will, at G5 level. in FAU, and then we have a pretty good Division II team, at least one that has challenged for conference championships at their level, and also a familiar foe that'll bring out fans for the home game. So not only do you get three pretty good games, but you get to get a gauge on where the team is with all the returning players and the new players in key positions such as quarterback and other things. And also we have a former FAMU All-American or All-Conference player as a defensive coach on Albany State.
Okay.
And they got a few
And
former Rattlers on the team there too. So, and I
Mhm.
see where JC and Little Baby are in the comments saying, "Hey, winnable games for that FAU game." And I see where we better not sleep on Quinn.
No,
No, we can't.
no
Oh, no.
team.
And come on, Kelvin, you were about to go. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say Albany is what 50 miles down the road by about an hour drive. So easy trip for them and their fan base. They'll probably bring anywhere from 1,500 or so. Especially if I don't think this is their first game. So especially if they coming in, winning. And homecoming for Quinn and some other Rattlers, like as you mentioned on that staff and team. It's a game that, of course, we have to dominate. Frankly,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
they
We need to
they
set
they
the
can be
example.
competitive for a quarter. Yeah, they might can be competitive for a quarter, maybe, but it's a game that we should win by double digits. And when I
Yeah,
say double digits, I'm talking 20,
yeah. We should
20,
be
20
resting
plus.
our starters in the second half.
Yeah, uh,
Absolutely.
Especially since we're coming back to our home, the Bragg, where Bragg's been feared to play in for how many years now? We don't, and we had a mishap last season, but we need
I
to
like how you
come back
made
and
that.
show that, hey, that was just a one off, and Bragg is still Bragg for us. So don't come here thinking you just gonna slide in and compete. So that's what we need to mark our territory of sorts for sure.
What did you
yes.
call it? What did you call it? Ashley, we had a what?
A mishap.
Snafu.
A
We
little
can't say we
snafu.
don't lose in Bragg. We shouldn't lose
We
in
don't
Bragg.
remember that.
A
Uh,
little snafu. A
Just
little
a little
mishap.
bit.
an entanglement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it got real complicated, didn't it?
We showed a level of compassion and concern.
We just
The
wanted,
team was
them
mourning
to not
Mississippi Valley.
be
Yeah,
right,
we didn't
right.
want to
We were
just put the final nail in the coffin. It was a
They wanted to
little.
get a new offensive coordinator. Y'all being funny. I know I got this much chill.
it's too many shots being fired this early this morning.
Oh, did you just say that?
Absolutely. With my whole chest.
Well,
Hey, you saw the changes being made. So I agree though. This is a game you definitely should win. I think it's going to be well attended though. This is one of the games where people talk about FAMU playing Division II teams. This is one of those three Division II teams that you should have on rotation every couple years because their fans travel. It's a short ride. We do send kids there. You have a lot of kids from Florida there, a lot of familiarity there, and especially with Quinn being there. Let's be honest, this is an audition. You make a little too much noise like you did last time. This is another audition for a job that you almost got as an offensive coordinator.
and imagine if he comes in playing hard because he has a point to prove just because he's an alum and all the narratives that play into this. So again, it was said earlier, we can't sleep on Quinn, and we need to come in, dominate, double digit win, and make sure that we know that this is our house and the mishaps are behind us.
There were a lot of Rattlers that wanted him on staff.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
a lot of Rattlers wanted him on staff. So
Man, so it should be a W there. Next game. This is
Next game.
probably
love it.
this is the second best game close to homecoming to me. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
love it. Love this is. I'm gonna say Alabama State is a rivalry that feels it's because the SWAC rivalries, baby, it's a little brutal. You know what I mean? But Alabama State's rivalry, it still feels like that kind of how we are with Bethune Cookman. Is like our cousins, that we
Yep.
beat up on a little bit. I hate to say that Alabama State, but we've been in the SWAC, no W's yet. Hopefully, sorry, but anyway, it feels like that rivalry where you kind of beating up on your little cousin, but it's still. I had a great time in Montgomery last year, and when they came to us, I had a great time. And then the year before that, I went to Montgomery, and I had a great time then. I love this Alabama State FAMU game. Every year I look forward to it. It's one of my favorites. I know it's gonna be a good defensive game. Alabama State is gonna play real hard defense.
Yep. Hmm.
Hopefully they can work out. I feel bad for them because I feel like every year they're just one quarterback away from being somebody. Oh, nobody, y'all don't feel bad. Nobody.
Hey,
Nah.
but as quiet as it's kept, even I know we're specifically talking about a football schedule, but Alabama State kind of gets us in other sports
Mhm.
very often. When
Everybody.
we're kind of in one of these championships for a different sport. Alabama State is always right there, most likely in a lot of other sports. So they
They
are very
are.
much. I was like,
Yeah.
we're sleeping on Alabama State as a program. That
No,
they
no,
actually
No, no,
compete
we're
No,
very
not.
well
no. We not.
across
no,
the
No,
board.
they
We're
And
not
get the
sleeping on them.
commissioner's cup almost
no.
every year. The
right,
commissioner's
like
Yo,
cup
we need to
goes
pay
to
attention to
Alabama
them.
every
Alabama
year.
State is the archetype of what you should do as a program from an HBCU perspective, as far as like facilities wise.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of y'all ride past Montgomery or go to the campus. The football stadium's off the highway and it's gorgeous. Then when you go on
Mhm.
campus, now granted the trap is right behind campus, so stay on campus. Don't go behind campus. But the baseball stadium is nice. The softball
Yep.
stadium is nice. The
Yep.
arena is nice. Like everything that they have is slowly becoming dated, but it's the newest and best, and it looks darn near minor league level. Like the state of Alabama
Yeah.
actually contributed to that, and now you're starting to see Alabama A&M really following Alabama State steps.
Hmm.
One of those schools that won that got their money, the lawsuit from the state, and
Mhm.
it funded a lot of their facilities.
Now, one quick question. Even though this is game number 4 for us, our first and only bye is the week prior on September 20th. So now that means we have a run of 9 straight games.
Nine. I wanted to get into that. That's
Yeah.
yes, that's crazy.
And I know last year we had two, didn't we have 2 buys? And then, we had some
Yes.
weather
The bad
disruptions
weather.
as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a lot of disruptions in Coach Cozy's first year the 2 buys were already scheduled, but we had at least one unplanned deferment of a game and then some other complicated issues. But I was surprised at how early the buy is, but I'm looking at it now and everything outside of the future game in the middle of October, our last non-conference game. It's pretty much all conference games. So I'm assuming that the schedule was already set and we had to work around that. But, going on a run of 9 straight games with
Insane.
with all of them conference games and one non-conference against which well, I'm not gonna get to it, but a team that champions or is contending for the MEAC championship on an annual basis.
Yeah.
Uh, that's gonna be rough, having to
It is.
buy that early. So the depth and talent is gonna
Yeah.
be tested.
That depth, we need to
Absolutely.
make sure that we have depth for that type of run.
Well, for this particular game, it's going to be well attended. They always bring
Yeah.
2,500 to 3,000 fans to the game with them. This game is going to be interesting. We can't judge this Alabama State team from past experiences because they pretty much lost their entire defensive staff
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
as well
And
as
then you,
players. They lost most of their secondary, and then a couple of guys transferred out too.
Yes.
So we don't know what they're going to look like, frankly, going into this year because they got a new staff as well as players. So
Yes.
it'll be interesting from that standpoint. The philosophy of the head coach is still, hey, let's run the ball, play good defense. But
Mm-hmm.
that defensive coordinator they had was special.
He was. He
Yeah,
was.
so he's going FBS now. He's working
Yeah.
with Trent Dilfer at UAB.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. So it's a great matchup. I also agree is one of my favorite SWAC matchups. Well, football matchups. Period. Out of
Mm-hmm.
everybody, and it's another home game. The first 2 home games, there's no conflicts, meaning Florida State is out of town. So you know, Rattler Nation, I expect us to be there and have sellouts in the first 2 home games. You say you
Mhm.
want home games and great home games.
Yes.
Our home schedule this year is phenomenal.
It
It
is.
Mhm.
is. It
And
is.
Yes.
so get those investing in champion packages.
Yes.
yes,
Get your
yes.
Yes.
tickets. Get your season tickets.
Yeah.
Let's beat last year's season ticket um numbers. We want to grow. We want to increase, and we want to have fans in the stands. So get your tickets. You don't have to do the one by one, week by week. And if you can't make it to a game, give that particular game ticket away. to someone else who might be able to make it. But we want to show our athletic department, our AD, that we are in full support. And like Kelvin said, we won a home games, we got them. So there should be no problems to get to Brad.
Mm-hmm. For this game, do we know if Andrew Body got a medical red shirt or he's going to
That's what I
petition for
was.
one?
That was my question.
I was bringing that up.
So just on logic, why he got hurt pretty early, right? Last year.
Yeah,
Was that
game one.
automatically kind of guaranteed?
We have to submit, well, because I mean he's been in what was a freshman, I think our first year or maybe the year before we came into the SWAC. So I'm not sure where he is in terms of eligibility, but he's at least had 1 or 2 seasons where he was injured. And I don't know if he's already used his red shirt, which is the 4-game.
I'm gonna take a stab at it real quick, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
So in looking at his medical history, he's already used a medical red shirt.
Okay.
So what he would be doing this year is using a hardship waiver, which is very possible because he does have extenuating circumstances. So if they apply for it, I'm pretty sure he'll get it. But it won't be quote unquote a medical red shirt. It'll be a hardship waiver.
Yeah, he used it at Texas Southern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was first 2 years first 2 or 3 years at Texas Southern, then transferred and then got hurt. So it'll be interesting, and I think that may be a key because I mean the early parts of the OBC last year, he was looking pretty good, and then he got hurt. I think on the last drive or the second to last drive, and then was just pretty much out for the rest of the 2024.
He was already banged up. That's why they really weren't. They were trying not to start him because he was already banged up. You know, he was already kind of hurt, and but it was getting so bad.
Yeah.
North Carolina Central was beating them bad.
Well, to that point, the word is that the injury he sustained at Texas Southern wasn't properly handled when he transferred.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I heard.
That's what I heard as well.
Yes.
So it'll be an interesting game.
He'll be back. But then, oddly enough, the defense changes for him. You know, you finally get your quarterback that might be fully healthy finally, and then the defense takes the dip.
Right. Because I still don't think last year, and I mean their defense was very good last year, but I still don't think they replaced Bubba Adams last year. Boy, he was a monster. Colton, what is his name? Colton Bubba?
Yeah, Colton.
He was. I still don't feel like they replaced him even last year.
But he was a white Isaiah Major. If you want to be really funky, like for what Isaiah Major was for our defense, that's what Bubba was. Like I don't know how many people watched that game. That was one of the best games that season. If you wanted to watch 2 of the best defensive players in the SWAC, and you know that's not trying to like throw a slight at it. That's just literally pointing out like that white boy over there. He's just like Isaiah Major. Like they're both the coldest dudes on the field right now.
Really, Bubba's a man.
Now the transfer that they got last year, and I think last year was eligible. Who was it? Rico Dozier. I think he came over from either Alcorn or Valley. I think it was Alcorn. I mean, I can't remember, but he filled in adequately. So he was, I think, first team defense last year. So they, you know, Coach Robinson keeps some defensive players. Just a matter of.
Yes.
So these games, and I think going forward, I'm not sure. We'll have to see how the offense rolls with the new coordinator and the new philosophy. But they might be a lot like Alabama A&M game. I'm thinking because there's going to be run first emphasis, and I don't know to what degree we're going to see a whole bunch of blowouts, but we'll see.
Yeah. You talking about from Alabama State or? No,
Alabama A&M. I mean, we were winning, but it was, you know, a little nip and tuck near the end. And I think just looking at Coach Colsey, when I was looking at the few stats I could find from his Canadian foray when he was a head coach up there, this is kind of what I expected.
Don't look at that. Don't do that. Don't
Put his phone on mute. Put his thing on mute, Ashley.
I'll tell you the truth before I lie to you. I don't think Coach Colsey's time in Canada is a good measuring stick for what he's going to do at FAMU. You notice he's the only person he brought from Canada with him.
Yeah, well, or Henry Burris. I'm saying in terms of his
philosophy. One with him then.
I mean, in terms of his philosophy, not necessarily their projections, but like philosophy, run first, heavy on defense.
Hey, I think you're gonna
And I
let
was looking
Burris
at
do
that
whatever
last
you
year when they
want to
first
do.
got hired.
I think that's his philosophy, but I think when it really boils down to it, it's going to be more of Burris, you kind of run the offense, and I'm going to come in and be more of a check. Because if you notice, that was part of the problem last year. Like you heard the post games where he was like, "We should have did this, we should have done that," and it was like, "Well, why didn't you check to tell the dude not to do that?" And so I think he's more of a laissez-faire type when it comes to the coordinators. Like, I'm gonna try to let y'all run it. I'll be more of a CEO, but I think this year he's gonna have to be more hands-on because of the production value. Just like you can't have another year like last year with some of those losses. Like there's a reason why Alabama State's defensive coordinator goes to UAB with Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer, I believe, is on his second year of that contract, so he's pretty much either win this year or next year you're gonna be a lame duck. Ain't nobody gonna go up there for no 3-year deal, knowing that you're not gonna serve out that term. So I think Cozy's gonna be a lot more hands-on with the defense, but I think it's gonna be a little more of having somebody as an offensive coordinator that I think he trusts a little more with the play calling.
Yeah,
He kind of alluded it to
he
that when he
insinuated
came out
that.
of O&G. He
Yes.
he
Yep,
kind
he
of
did.
he kind of said one of the things that he learned from his first year as head coach was, when to interject himself.
Yeah.
He was filling that situation out, and you got to also remember, because of the timing of his hiring
Mm-hmm.
and everything, he was pretty much forced to stay with and
Who he
choose
had.
from the people that was already in place. You remember
Mhm.
in the spring, he didn't even have Burris and a couple of those
Right.
guys there anyway.
Walker.
Mm-hmm.
So
Trent
so
Walker.
you
Trent Walker. Yeah.
yeah. So it'll be interesting now that he gets to put his staff together and they'll go through a whole spring together. I think he'll have a better feel of when to be the head coach and
Mhm.
interject himself and not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And
I
Kelvin,
agree.
to your point, not only the timing of it, but I think some of the internal and maybe external pressure, if you will, in terms of the running back mantra. Like, okay, you can run it back, but you don't have the time, or you might not have the full support to do a wholesale sweep of the coaching staff if they're not fitting. So you have to I don't want to make it sound like this because they're all professionals, but make do with what you have based on the timing, the expectations, and being able to coalesce in order to have a competitive team. So he didn't have the full off season to be able to do that, to impose or implement his philosophy, and from an offense, maybe a defensive standpoint, get coaches that he knows from years of past instead of 2 years of being on Coach Simmons' staff. So this year, even though it's year 2 and his contract is more like a full year 1 for him, but it's year 2 for him on the contract from a chronological standpoint and from the FAMU Nation, because it's only a 3-year deal. So he's got to show and prove. He's got to make it work this year.
Yeah, I think, and just to get in on that, when I talked to Cozy the other day when we was talking, and I was just like, how the team looking on whatever, he was like, around this time last year we had 61 players, and I was like, dang. He said now a year later we got 94, and then of course they're going to add on some for signing day, and then the second portal period and all those things. So all those things kind of played a factor into how this year went. I mean, it looked good on paper when the season started up, but also just all the hurdles he had to jump through that off season. It was like it kind of was maybe this was the reality the whole time.
Yeah. That helps you
Yeah,
to really put it in perspective when you say that. 61 points. That is crazy.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we came in shooting very high as a base, feeling good, and the running back had contingencies to it, and the contingencies were no longer there. The running back wasn't just, oh, we're gonna wake up tomorrow and have and do it. The contingencies did not stick around for one reason or another. So yeah, hindsight is always 2020, right? We can look back and say, well, this didn't happen, this didn't happen. So I do believe he deserves opportunity, which is what he's getting. And I'm happy for him that he
Right.
gets an opportunity to prove that he's a better representation as a head coach than maybe what was shown last year.
Hey, there's grace, but the standard is the standard.
The standard is the
Absolutely.
standard.
But y'all gotta say it like Colby said with his chest. The standard is the damn standard. And Ashley can't say what she want to say because she Fang Exchange, but people left. Y'all know people left on the defensive line. Look, keep this Fangs Up podcast. So look, I
I
fifth
mean,
quarter, all that. So we hang together, but I ain't tied to no NIL. I'm tied to the boosters and all that, and I just volunteer there. So I'm speaking freely. So some of the players left, some of the big name players left, and
yeah.
some of those big name players, they did not play last season. but some of them didn't play and caught red shirts next year so that they could fill in this year. Like, I don't know if y'all seen General Hunt, but Buddy done picked up some more muscle on top of
Yeah,
the
he
muscle he
did.
already had. Anthony
did.
Dunn started stealing time at Kent. Like, granted, Cheney is going back to FIU, so some of these players that FAMU lost, and that we kind of joke about playing AB. These dudes are going to potentially be playmakers that are catching these red shirts, and they left FAMU. But when they left FAMU, we weren't able to quickly replace them.
Yeah, and Cozy also said he don't expect the portal to be a problem this year. I don't know who got something to do with that. That's on this call, but
Listen, let us.
What the preacher say? There's a ram in the bush.
All my life I had to fight.
I guess now I can settle with the fact I was a little delusional last year. I wasn't ready to come to grips with it. But I mean, you it's like it, but it didn't. It just did not. You just couldn't tell me we weren't gonna be back. I was delusional.
No. I'm gonna push back a little bit on this because think about it. We should have beaten Jackson State last year.
We should have.
We were there. We were there.
I don't want to talk about it.
So the expectations were reasonable. However, we could have seen that it wasn't going to be easy. But the talent was there.
Last 3 minutes and 30. Ashley and I were sitting next to each other at Jackson.
We were right there. Me and Shay, we felt like we didn't need nobody else in them stands. We was yelling with those fans.
I was walking the aisle like my grandma when she was praying, and I'm telling you, I couldn't. The last 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and I'm just looking. I'm like, what? We're not going there. We're not going there. We're not going to go back there.
I was at another school's stadium at a game, and my friends like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Bro, we about to lose this game because these jokers ain't gonna score." And I was so mad. And I don't wear their colors. I was wearing another Wildcats with University of Kentucky. I was wearing Kentucky stuff because I don't rock with UF either. But I was sitting there looking like, "Fam, you about to lose this game because we can't score." And I'm trying to watch, and I'm like, "How? We was winning all game." Like, I feel like Dennis Green.
Interception until the last turnover. Even with the first turnover, I was still delusional. I was like, "We're still gonna do it." Like, I was delusional all the way until.
I mean, because we saw it, we were literally there. It was kind of like, "Oh, okay, like it's tight, but we're okay." Like, they're not doing too much, but it's like to watch it crumble before your eyes, live and in person. Kelvin was there.
I didn't understand how we got so conservative and we up by 1 point. And
we was conservative all season long.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. We leaning on a run game that we did not have. We never could run the ball, and we leaning on a run game we didn't have. Like,
hey, Keith, please move forward because it's dramatic.
Speaking of somebody we owe some B2A to, if you've never taken this trip before, look, I'm gonna tell you now. That was the happiest 10-hour ride them children have ever had in their life. It is an 8 to 10-hour ride from Tallahassee to Mississippi Valley State. It's Itabena, but look, that's all that is there. It's like you put a college in Quincy. And if you've never been, you don't know. But I've been there before, so I ain't flashing jokes. So for those that are going to this game, you may want to long sleeves off, however you gonna make it. But the Rattlers owe you a whooping.
Talk about the mosquitoes.
Ain't no fault.
No, the last few times, and I know Kelvin alluded to it since we joined the SWAC. That long ride for FAMU going up there, Valley plays. I don't know if it's everybody, but they play us tough whenever we go up there.
Yep,
they play us tough, and they got a new coach, and they have a coach with coaching experience in Terrell Buckley.
Someone talking about the last time he coached though. Now that's another time. Look, we saw this movie in Orlando.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say that. So we'll have to see how it turns out. But they always seem to play us tough. And, we always look at Valley's overall record and even the overall athletic department. They're like, okay, they're struggling. And they are struggling as it relates to being competitive and from a financial standpoint. But whenever we go up there, it seems like almost like stuff happens. I mean, you got turnovers. And what was it, 2021? We went up there. Turnovers, and we should have been up like 21-0 or something, but we were
losing.
And then We had to come back because they had a good running back. I think he transferred to Valley his senior year 2 years ago. And then 2023, we went up there and played a night game, and that one was a lot tighter than it should have been as well. So this is nothing to sleep on. And if Buckley brings any kind of energy or support, to get behind him, we'll have to make sure that we're not taking them for granted.
No.
You're absolutely right, Marcus. The only thing I'm gonna say about this game, they came in. That was the only win last year in Bragg, and they broke the streak. Cozy, you gotta beat them by 20. Yeah, you
40. 40.
I want you absolutely right. Valley is tough to play up in Valley. Now they got turf field, made some improvements to the stadium. So they won't have that same advantage they had, because they were slowing us down with that mud and dirt and sprinklers. Now they got a turf field up there, so our speed should be able to show, and I expect us to whoop their butt.
Yeah.
I need it back.
Yeah,
we need it back. We got to get that one back.
This should be a win. All the players, they always say Valley is the hardest trip to make just because it's so far. And that 2023 game just had reminded me of when people was mad at Moose for that game, and they were saying Moose need to get benched, and Coach Simmons had to come out and put a PSA out Sunday morning like he is not getting benched. But nah, yeah, this should be a victory. I mean, you going in, you got a first year coach. It's a hard trip to make. And like y'all said, whenever FAMU go to Valley do play themselves just because probably a little bit of, fatigue from making that long trip. And on top of that, they don't stay in Ida Bena because I don't think there's no hotels there.
There are no hotels in Ida Bena.
Yeah, so you got to ride there. So you got to ride there Friday and then make another ride Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So normally they ride to Jackson, but the closest cities like Greenwood, Indianola, and the hotels there are literally not. They can't staff a football team there. So you're probably traveling to Jackson and staying and driving over. Yeah, but Memphis is 2 hours north, isn't it? Hour and a half, 2 hours.
I want to say they
took Jackson's only hour and a half ride. I made that ride. I look 3 times, 4. Oof.
Yeah, it should be a victory though, and I mean, like y'all said, FAMU they do owe them one. So, how last year matchup went. So yeah, but I think I could chalk this up as a win for FAMU too.
And Radical Rattler in the comments made a good point that Valley has recruited a lot of our backyard talent in Big Bend as well. I think I heard someone say that they have a coach from the Quincy Gaston County area, so that makes sense. Yeah. And Tallahassee, Quincy, Big Bend area always is heavy in football talent. So can't sleep on them at all. And let's go ahead and get this W with some intensity because we can't. We need it back.
Valley plays hard anyway. If you watch the game, I watched them play Jackson. They played Jackson hard last year.
They did.
They were at one point. As a matter of fact, they went into the half up on Jackson.
They did. I think they ran out of gas in the second half.
Yeah, of course.
That's
what happens. It wears them down on the depth. But that team is always going to play hard. Always.
Cool. Next one. Look, will we get a little HBCU nightly talk coming down here?
Yeah, I love this game.
I'm excited about this game.
This right here is when the season starts. This right here is when the season starts.
I love this game.
This is when the season starts. This stretch between Central and ending with Jackson. That's going to define your season right there.
Yeah,
that's going to define your season right there.
October, November.
Just like last year.
Yep.
Just like last year. I forget who started off last year. Was it? It was Alabama State to Jackson, I believe, or something like that. So this where the season started. Yeah, Southern.
We played Southern after Jackson. That whole little run.
Yeah, that run right there. This is where the season started.
So,
I love this game.
Do they have their quarterback back as a question? Is Walker Texas Ranger back there gunslinging?
Yes.
Like, this is going to be an interesting matchup because it's not a rivalry, but the two teams play each other tough. And the last 3-4 times we met, it was a solid game.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
And some may feel like we got robbed out of the matchup in the Celebration Bowl 2 years ago.
We robbed ourselves.
They robbed them.
Yeah, they robbed themselves.
They blew the church's money against Howard.
Yeah.
They dropped it. But I think I'm gonna to your point about Walker Texas Ranger. His gun be jamming every now and then because he's
She may
slinging
be shooting blanks.
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes he be shooting blanks. So I mean, hey, Walker Texas Ranger he ain't doing it for me. I'm sorry. He be slinging it sometimes, but sometimes his gun jams. So
There's
Yeah.
another team
I
that can
like
leave
to
the band at home too. You can leave your band at home. We,
you
we,
can
we
leave the whole
appreciate your
band at home.
donations, but you can leave the whole band at home.
The whole
Pep
band,
band, friend band,
everything. We'll just
wedding
go over there
band.
and get Rickard to come and play in y'all spot because
You
you
can,
can
Correct.
leave them right at home.
but
Okay.
this is
Kelvin won't like that. He'd like to say the high, but bring Rickers on, man. You're right. You're right, Shay.
Bring Rickard.
yeah. This I think this is if you're a fan, especially if you're a local, looking at that time of year, October 11th, depending on the time. This is one of those sneaky good games to go to because it's right before homecoming. So the traveling folks won't be there as much because they trying to save their money up so they can go spend $300 to party the next week. But then it's also going to be a really good game. Hopefully we hit 17 to 18,000 in Bragg for this one, but it's gonna be a fun one.
Hey, bullet points. Florida State is at home that weekend, so that'll be our first conflict with Florida State. So, to the point about attendance, that's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have a good crowd, but
Right.
hotels are gonna be hard to get. The
Yeah.
second point is you mentioned about their quarterback being back. Don't forget, we got 2 of their coaches on staff now.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're
Offensive line coach
offensive line, offensive coordinator, and a
running back.
recruit, and a running
And
back,
the
and
running
recruit
back.
coordinator. So, coach, they coach like to hold grudges and like to talk a lot of trash. Now Oliver got his butt beat doing that by talking that trash to Howard now, but
Yeah.
then and then South Carolina State got him last year. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting, but it's in Bragg, and that still means something to Rattler and Rattler Nation. So I fully expect us to win this game.
Me too.
So
Me
I
too.
always wonder, like when a coach goes to the team in the next year, the immediate next year they play them. Does that give an advantage either way? Like maybe the 2 coaches we have knows how Oliver runs things, or vice versa. Maybe Oliver knows how good they are at their schemes, and does it not matter because you change it up every year, you still got a scout.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters a lot. I mean, if the teams are even and you got your talent there, there may be a player or two that you can hold, or you might guess right on. So in the course of a game, it can contribute, but I don't know if it's an advantage significantly either way.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking more about 13 to 15,000 for this game, just because it's right before homecoming. Like this game, I'm going to go to homecoming. I'm also going to go to this game, but I'm going to come up and down because of the Florida State thing.
If Central is winning, they're a good team, a top 5 team. They're coming in to brag. Between locals and Atlanta, Orlando, people will come to brag. I still fully expect 17,000.
Yeah.
Before homecoming.
Yeah, because and FSU's playing Pitt, so Pitt fans is not quite cold enough for them to want to come down here. Like sometimes we kind of forget with the ACC, especially with that north-south stuff. If it's a Boston college, their fans might travel a little more because they trying to run from the cold. But FSU versus Pitt, right? Thank you. It's still gonna be hot. So them folks saying it's gonna be more of their fans traveling to Tallahassee than it's gonna be like your Pitt and Miami week. All right, next one, y'all ready? Okay. Homecoming. FSU's out of town. They're playing on the other side of the country. So you ain't even worried about that.
Y'all.
This is my favorite game of the season. It's my favorite one.
It's an interesting matchup. These teams ain't played. These teams hasn't played as long as I've been born. So
1987 was the last game.
Yeah,
I wasn't being even thought of in 1987. I ain't come to 1998. So this is a first time ever matchup for me. But good homecoming opponent. Good homecoming opponent. I think Alcorn they're gonna bring a crowd with them.
Yep.
And it's gonna be turned up. This game gonna determine if it's gonna be a good night at Top Flight or not.
Absolutely, because
I'm gonna let y'all keep the flight.
listen, they were supposed to be Alcorn blew their own ticket against us in 2023 because they should have been, instead of us playing PV that
Yep.
second time SWAC
Mhm.
championship, it should have been Alcorn, but they blew it at Texas Southern that year. But this is the matchup that a lot of SWAC, a lot of FAMU and Alcorn people have been waiting on because we thought we would get them in 2023, but we knew that they wouldn't come on our schedule until 2025. So this is our first time since we've been in the SWAC, us playing Alcorn, and I think it's going to be a good game. Their coach Cedric Thomas, he's under the same coaching tree that Willie Simmons came from with John Hopkins at Alcorn, and so I think it's going to be a good. I think it's going to be a really good game. They have a lot of question marks over there too, and they coming off of a not a rough season. But I know that they're gonna fight us. They're gonna fight us to the end. But I'm
Danger,
excited for this game.
dangerous game for us.
Yep.
Dangerous.
Absolutely.
Especially for homecoming, because they might
We
travel.
Homecoming? Yeah.
we're not just that. I'm looking at we just talked about we playing Central, which is going to be a
Mhm.
physical team who run the ball the week before. Now it comes homecoming with all the distractions, and Alcorn gonna come in. We know two things: they're gonna be physical and they're gonna
Mhm.
run the ball.
Mhm.
So this is after a season where we're going into our biggest stretch. We got big games behind this game, right? We got Southern Jackson State, which is our bigger rivals behind that.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to have a ton of focus, and we're gonna have to get through the first part of that week, hopefully, in a central game without injuries, and then the first 3 days of homecoming without getting distracted. Is and that's a tough chore.
Mhm.
So this is a very dangerous game for us.
Yeah, I'll say also too that our schedules kind of match each other because Alcorn also has that 9 game run at the end. They have a bye early in the season. I think it might be the same week we have a bye. Their homecoming is the following week, the 25th, and they have that long 9 game stretch just like us at the end. So it is going to be a very interesting matchup, and both teams will have a tall task ahead of them.
Yeah, it's gonna be the like Gerald said, this is gonna determine how top flight is. How the after game party is, what the parking lot pimping is like. Like this is a game where early on, with Alcorn, sorry. I ain't trying to make none of them Alcornites upset. Y'all know I don't say that every day.
They will.
Uh, but
They
They gonna tell you to
will.
get it right.
right, this is
Alcorn,
a
no,
game
it's
where
not.
you have to get them out the game early though, because it's been since Jesus H. Christ was walking the earth since they had a really good quarterback, and it's probably was maybe Steve McNair was the last elite one, but they've had some others that were like solid. But it's been a good while since they had a quarterback, and they lost games last year sometimes because the quarterback wasn't it. So if they can hit some of those, because this is an offense that will give you some big plays. They will throw the ball deep. They do normally run to set up the pass, and then they run a play action pass, and Buddy's running butt naked on the sideline, and they hit him on the deep ball. And the receivers normally catch the ball. So if the receiver gets the ball somewhere in his catch radius, it's a problem. So this is one of those games where you need to get them down early and let that homecoming crowd have a factor in there. Find a way to get Thick 36 out there again. We seen her do some magical, wonderful things. So we need her and the crew back out there. Have every distraction you need because it's a
36
win and
had
it's
held it down
homecoming.
for us.
She held it down for us. Them
She
boys are grambling.
did.
They couldn't think in the fourth quarter.
I need
But
that
hey,
thick 36.
We
Thick
know where she is.
36.
We can,
Listen,
we know where she is, and
hello.
I'm
Yeah.
sure she'll be
She
there.
getting married now though. She
She
said
is.
she
You're
don't
right. I
got time.
forgot. She is engaged now. She might not. She
Yeah.
might not be able to
She
pull the
might not
card
be
no
a
more.
good distraction.
She might be able
We
to get
got
some
some more
friends.
though. We got
I'm
some
about
more
to.
though.
We
And
got
she know
friends
it's
homecoming.
FAMU. We got more in the back pocket. You know we got more.
Exactly. Look, them hills do something amazing to the women. It's just come on now.
That's
Like
probably what it is. Walking up and down them hills. It's exercise.
that's glute
But
exercise.
yeah, you right. They can't play behind the six because they rely so heavily on the run game. So if we get them up, if we go up early,
Yeah.
it's gonna look pretty good for us. They don't play well behind the six. So if we can do that, we go if we go in the half up a score or two, even if it's a touchdown or field goal, whatever, I feel pretty good against Alcorn because they're gonna rely heavily on them because their quarterback is still a big question. They still don't have their guy in the room. So I feel okay about that.
You wonder if actually wonders if G gonna be at this game. G probably gonna be at every game in
G is
Alcorn. If the doors are
100%.
open, G gonna be there.
G is 100. I can confirm. G is 100% gonna be in that game. Absolutely, he'll be there.
Okay. Homecoming. So get your party money right. Y'all know they charge an arm and a leg to get into the party, so don't even get upset
Get your
about it.
social house vodka.
And if you get your tickets early, you get the go ahead and decide where you're gonna go. Usually the prices don't really start getting unreasonable until it's closer to the week of. So you gotta start planning ahead. Get with your crew and know where you're gonna go and just get the early bird tickets. That's $15, $20, $25 because you a late bird. You paying 50, 60, 70, 80 dollars.
Off the rip. You'll stay at home quick. All right, let's see. Southern.
And we got to go to. I'll be there.
Oh, you going good?
I want to see the light show. Are they gonna do the light show again?
Yeah, it was crazy. I went in 2023. I'm gonna go. I love this game. That's a nasty fan base right there. But before the game, they are a nasty fan base. But before the game, like swag tailgating and all that, it's like no other. And I had a ball. Everybody gonna feed you. They're gonna make sure you eat. It's gonna be a good time. But when it come down to that football game and you get in them in that stadium, they're another team that's like us. Their stadium, you gonna have Southern fans on both sides. You know what I'm saying? It's not they say it's not a home. They don't have a visiting side. Like how we have that alumni and student side. So it gets hostile in Mumford.
Yes,
it does.
Southern is probably my second favorite stadium in the SWAC that I've been to, just because, like you said, the fan base, because they are nasty and they don't care how old you are. You can be adult, or geriatric, or a child. They are who they are, but they are unapologetically behind their team, and it's atmosphere. It's fun. It's one of, to me, and the only reason I say ain't nobody coming is because we got the homecoming. Otherwise, maybe. But that is a fun environment, great fan base, really cool people. We're gonna have some conversations during frat meeting with some of our Southernites, to let them know we making sure we keep things in order around here in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
I wonder if they're gonna do the light show this year.
They got to, man. That's part of their thing now.
Yeah. At the end of the third quarter, this is my favorite. This is my favorite game. My favorite SWAC rivalry. Period. And it's my favorite one to go to. And guess what? Since 1990, I had never missed going to Baton Rouge until the last time. The light show. I missed it. I forgot what it was. It was some reason why I could not go, so I didn't make it there. So I would definitely be at this game for sure. And it's another game. Southern won the West last year. They have some pieces coming back. But, I have no idea what to expect, what kind of team, other than when you go to Southern, generally you have to beat the referees. I love the fan base. Like everybody has said, before the game, tailgating is great. They very hospitable with foods and spirits and so forth. But inside that stadium, they don't know you, bro.
Yeah, it's a whole other beast. It's a whole other beast. That light show, yeah. I was almost, I remember when it happened right before the fourth quarter, and it was like you didn't know what was going to happen because you had both teams and they kind of met in the middle of the field, but everybody stayed calm, so it was a real good moment. But it was like a moment where you just didn't know, like, okay, are they gonna fight? It was really intense, but it was real cool. It was really cool. It was a good time.
And I haven't even made it to Mumford yet, but I gotta catch a FAMU Southern game because, like Kelvin said, this is my favorite. Like my first season covering FAM in 2022, I was like, my favorite game wasn't homecoming. It was when Southern came, and then even like when I had my family come to the game last year, and they was like, "What's a good game to come to?" And I said, "Come to the Southern game because usually that's a good one." I said it might not be as heavily attended because it fell around that homecoming time, but I love the FAMU Southern rivalry, man, because it just always heated, and it's typically a pretty good game too. So I mean that helps it out a lot too. So I'm hyped for this. I gotta see if I can make it to Mumford this year.
And the bands, you got to talk about the bands.
Yeah.
Last time we went, FAMU band didn't go, but the time before that in 2021 they did. the rivalry just it's from beginning to end. We talking about paraphernalia, who paraphernalia is better, who it's we beefing about everything.
She's right. This is the only game besides the classic where you literally like, oh, what you wearing? Where you got that from? And they're from the other school, and you were literally like, nah, I got this from here, y'all. You ain't got these like Willie Simmons. You ain't got this one that say swag on it. Like,
right,
I got to show out because it's Southern. Like,
absolutely.
So next one, another trip up there, kind of sleepy game. That's another one of them kind of trappy games. That UAPB game. Jackson State. Sorry. What happened was I didn't want to talk about Jackson State. That's why. Jackson State comes to Tallahassee. I must not have wanted to talk about them. That's why I left it off the slide. But
you didn't even give them a slide.
Didn't even get them a graphic. You know, they talk too much trash.
They don't deserve it.
They talk too much trash.
Wait. Like
that's my excuse.
Put a big pothole up there. Ashley, can you find a pothole and put that up there?
Here you go.
Yeah, see. I ain't gonna lie. I did not know about the potholes till I rode up there. I'm like, what the? Oh. Somebody told me they're like, yeah, be careful. I'm like, oh, you ain't gonna want a brother.
Down, head up, okay.
So you know they are convinced that they will come to Bragg and take over Bragg.
That's what they say.
So now we got to give them that. They gonna travel, and it's their first time in Bragg in a while. They gonna come. They gonna be there. They definitely gonna be there, loud and proud. But it ain't gonna be none of them people that talk all the mess on the internet. They don't come. It's
if they do come, they leave the stadium early if they losing. I ain't gonna say.
Oh, definitely. That's Southern too.
Hey, keep Petty, man.
Hi, Petty.
I don't think we have to say a lot about that game because we every route look at it circled on their schedule. Florida State is at home for this game, so it's going to be a tough ticket. It's going to be tough to get around town. People say JSU going to show up. I mean, it depends what you think showing up is, right? Alabama State, Tuskegee, Albany State, and Bragg traditionally bring a significant crowd. They fill up a whole section, maybe two. Jackson has not done that. We played them twice. What was it, like 18 and 20 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
At home. They didn't travel like that. So I don't know. It's more of a rivalry now, and we both are winning. So I do expect more people, but I just don't know if they're going to travel to Tallahassee. That's like what, an 8-hour trip.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. We'll see. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is we owe them for old and new.
Yeah, we do.
This is a game I want, just like when Bethune beat us 9 years in a row. And that first year we won.
Yeah.
And we were beating the piss out of them.
Yeah.
This is a beat the piss out of them game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
B2A.
This is the team that we have not, outside of that one OBC.
They beat in a long time, man.
Yeah, especially at Bragg. Like I can't remember the last time we beat
Last time
Bragg.
they came to Bragg was 2018, and Jackson won. I think it was.
Yeah, on that Hail Mary. Wasn't it the Hail Mary at the end of the game?
No,
the Hail Mary
was in Jackson.
Yeah,
that was in Jackson. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
that was the game where the quarterback, who was it, Stanley?
Yes.
Then down the ball.
Yeah, he didn't clock the ball. He ran away.
All we needed was a field goal to win the game. He didn't clock the ball, and then time ran out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think the play before, either Xavier Smith or Chad Hunter caught a long pass, and the ref said he stepped out on the 2 or the 3.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it on the broadcast. I think it was on TV, and I thought we had won the game, and they said he stepped out, and then we had the following plays where we didn't get the field goal off.
Yeah, we didn't manage time well either.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it should have been. We was right there too, but.
Yeah.
Listen,
poor decision.
Poor Keith tried to clean it up a little bit. We see you try.
I did. Hey, it's all right. Look, I ain't gonna act like Jay Z would. I ain't gonna do him. Jay-Z, how Jay-Z did 50 Cent, you get half a bar. I ain't gonna do that.
Yep.
You get at
Next.
least something. All
Yeah,
right,
next,
so
moving on.
up to the woods and by the river, gonna play UAPB. They don't have a lot of success for us, and their coach is pretty much this is a career year for him. Like
Yeah.
this is year 3, but he's
Yeah.
in a tough situation. So get it right. Join the FAMU coaching staff. We'll see.
And I don't think he will. He lost his Mekhi Hagens, that quarterback that he had, Giovanni Gibson, the receiver that he had. They gutted. The defense can't stop they can't stop a sneeze, a nosebleed, or nothing. I don't see it. Even with us going there, you never know, because like I said, this is coming off of that gauntlet, that 4-game gauntlet. But still, if this would be another like Valley PV type of game for us if we lose, and I'm gonna be extremely disappointed. I want to refund all the things because
fake news.
yeah, this should be an easy 20-point win for us. 21 points. Let's get on up out of there.
Have we ever lost a Pine Bluff? Does anybody know?
That I know of. Mm-mm.
I don't believe so.
So that needs to continue.
Yeah.
Next.
In dominating fashion. This is an interesting one.
This is an interesting one, especially Alabama A&M has a new football coach, Sam Shade, and Shade knows what he's doing. So not saying Carnell Maynard didn't. Maynard was solid, but he's an offensive genius.
Yeah.
I think Shade is kind of a little different, but he's bringing in some recruits, and he's taking one of our coaches with him and taking a recruit that we had with him as well.
Yep, sure did.
So how y'all feel about this one right here up there, Alabama A&M, where half the stadium is full and half of it's empty?
I mean, I feel like FAMU and Alabama, it's typically a good game. It was a good game when they played Black Friday last year. It was a good game when they went to when FAM went to Huntsville in 2023. I don't really recall the 2022 game. I know I'm getting a little up there in age now, but I know FAMU. Yeah, I know FAMU won. I can't remember if it was a good game or not, but
it was.
Wasn't that like almost? We almost lost that game.
We almost lost. Yeah.
Okay,
They were beating us. Oh, they were beating us early in the first half.
Yep.
That's the last time I was in Bragg.
And the season before I got here in 2021, FAMU had to come back, right?
Almost all the games,
always.
all 21 through 23, we had either a lead or a little bit behind, or allowed them to come back, and then the depth and whatever play calling, the play calling maybe on Alabama A&M's part, they didn't execute as well or make good calls, and we made better calls and came out on the win. Now I'm interested to see how Coach Shade, how he coaches. I have to study what he did at Miles, because it seemed like, and just for me, it seemed like you could always kind of count on Alabama A&M kind of in the clutch, or not doing something or not executing because of the way that we've played them the last 3 or 4 years. And we had a lead and they came back offensively, but they just couldn't close the deal. So I want to see what his coaching style is and how his teams have performed. We can't expect the same type of performance where you could kind of count on Coach Maynard or the team to kind of drop the ball in the end.
Definitely. This is the same coach that took his D2 Miles team in and beat Alabama State. So we cannot make any coaching errors. Yes, we cannot make any coaching mistakes, because Sam Shade knows how to coach, like my granddaddy says. He can coach. So, and we don't know what he'll look like at Alabama A&M, but we do know that he can come in and win, Division I football games even with less resources. So,
well, I see a resemblance to what Shade is inheriting at A&M as to what another D2 coach did in the MEAC last year in South Carolina State.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the only difference is he's got a much tougher role because he's in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's got to face Jackson State and Alabama State and FAMU. But in terms of competitiveness, he's going to have enough talent. They have pretty good facilities. It's going to be cold up there in the mountains that time of year. In middle of November 8th. So it could be an interesting game. It's a game that I expect us to win. but you just don't know until by then we'll know what both teams looking like. So
Right.
yeah.
I'm glad
Okay.
we have them towards the end of the season. I'll say that, and not
Yeah.
to really be able to see like what they got and what's going on and see who we are. I wouldn't want to see them early in the season with all these unknowns. So I'm glad we got them in November.
Yeah.
Jordan
Agreed.
asked the one-off question of, aren't we hosting some recruits this weekend? I did see a
Yes.
couple of people
Yes,
say
we
that they
are.
were
Yeah.
hosting
Yeah,
there this weekend.
Yeah.
So yes,
I saw a couple of official visits.
We
Yeah.
saw
I saw a
some.
couple tweets.
A
Yeah.
lot of high schoolers coming this week.
Absolutely.
Heard what coach told me. So
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
Coaching
I'm
down in
loving
South
seeing
Florida.
that we're focusing on our 2026 high schoolers,
yeah.
and we're building that core, and then of course always bringing in our portal guys and.
We've offered at least 2 guys who are on the Miami Herald All-Day team for class of 2026, an athlete and a linebacker.
Very good.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. So the big Florida Classic, the big one. FAMU extended the streak. Burley.
I can't. Yeah.
But the streak got extended. How y'all feeling about the game down here in Central Florida?
We got to whoop
Well,
them.
I'm glad that we're home this time.
W.
I'm just glad we're home because last year we weren't at home, so we didn't get the announcer, and it was so annoying to listen to their announcer. So we're home. I mean, although it's still a neutral site, we'll have our advantage in that manner to be home. But I'm not sure. It should be another W, right?
Yes.
Do we have
Yeah,
the
it
same
should be.
announcer next year?
It should be.
Absolutely.
Now, this is, I don't know what coach, gosh, I can't think of his name. Just Coach Woody. I don't know how long his contract is.
It's make or break for him.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
if
it
it's
is.
3 year, this is
This is it.
the last year of the
This is it.
contract. And as a VP Suggs mentioned the other day, this is the 100th iteration of this matchup.
Mhm.
And so I'm expecting it. Well, regardless, we jump in and have a competitive game. But with the 100th matchup, us being the home team and a lot of things coming into play, this needs to be a whooping.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's standing up. But I would say this: what Coach Woody is, he's standing up. He can't sit down. Okay, his seat's so hot right now. he need to wipe with a snowball. Okay, because he is the seat is hot. Okay, for him, this is it. This is it. And cook me. I almost want to tell Ashley to put me on the big screen by myself. Don't you bring the ghost of Mary McLeod back in them.
Oh,
Don't you do that again, scaring all them children and babies and all that with that woman. Oh, that was horrible.
It was.
terrible. Don't
Yeah.
y'all do that
CGI was
again.
bad on that.
It was horrible. It was horrible. But
So-
yeah, I expect the dub.
I expect the W as well. So let's make sure we get y'all to answer some questions. Top 3 games on this football schedule. Each one of y'all quick, make it, don't want to hold folks all day. Give me your top 3 games on the schedule. I'll start off with Gerald.
Hey, I was hoping I was gonna go last. But nah, I'm gonna say I don't want to pick homecoming. I want to pick outside of the homecoming in the classic. I'm gonna say Jackson, of course. Southern. Dang, what can be the third one? Let me see. I'm trying to think of the schedule. I don't got it pulled up in front of me. I mean, I'll throw the OBC in there just because it's it's back. So, but yeah.
And then just to help Gerald out, we'll put the schedule back up there for those.
Oh no, I'm tripping. No, I'm tripping. Central. No, take OBC out. Central. I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm tripping. Let me pull the schedule up.
I got it up for you. Okay, on the big screen.
Cool.
So we got Jackson.
Yeah, Central, Southern, and Jackson. That little stretch of them games right there. That I think that just defines the season right there.
Okay. Kelvin, who you got?
So I tend to pay attention. I when you say the most important games for me are the ones that I think we can lose, and I tend to look at the road games because I just feel like Bragg is a hard place to win. So I will say JSU because it's important to me. and I'll say the first road SWAC game, which is who? Valley.
Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna say Valley. So we can go into that tough stretch undefeated. And then the next game, probably that's gonna be really important, is Southern, because it's on the road
Mhm.
against a pretty quality opponent. So those my three.
Okay, Marcus, who you got?
I have to roll with Gerald because that's what I was thinking. Central, Jackson State, and Southern. Those three I expect. There's two out of the three met in the SWAC championship last year, and Central is always a contender for the MEAC.
Okay, Tashay, who you got? Top three games.
I'm going Central, Alcorn, and Southern. That gauntlet right in the middle.
Ooh, okay, I like that. You're the first one with Alcorn. Ashley, who you got?
I'm gonna go Central, Southern, kind of like Marcus said, Southern and Jackson, since those were the contenders for
Okay,
last year, and the goal is to win it all.
so top three for me. Top three, somewhat is I'm basing it somewhat off the experience. Alabama State is probably my number one, just because I love homecoming, but homecoming is homecoming. But if you're not going to be in town, this is one of my favorite games. The other one, I think I'm going to go with the Jackson State. There's a lot of trash talking. This is their first time in Bragg since they've been back. And I think quietly that North Carolina Central game, home-wise, is going to be another fun one. Okay. Best value game. So who wants to share their game that you think is just like everybody ain't, best value, most slept on? We can put those two together. Which one do you think is like your best value, or the game that ain't nobody thinking about, but you should be kind of keeping an eye on?
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say Central, and this is why I'm saying Central. The way this schedule is set up, if we falter and say lose one game and finish in second in the SWAC East, beating Central is important in terms of a at-large berth, which we'll be in a running for with this schedule. We got two MEAC teams, both who could be in a running or be the MEAC champ. So, I'm right now, the early money is probably going to be on Central anyway, with South Carolina State losing their quarterback and some pieces. So if we can have a good win against Central, and we go, say if we lose one and end up tied, and lose a tiebreak or something in the SWAC East, then that game gets us to potentially the playoffs.
I'm gonna say the Valley game, because if it wasn't because of the last year result, people really wouldn't be paying attention to this game. But just that first road trip for SWAC, because how many straight weeks that is, FAMU not leaving the state of Florida for the first four or really 5 weeks of the season with the bye week.
Right.
So I want to see how they look, going on that long trip early in the SWAC to kind of gauge what the team looking like.
I'm gonna go with FAU, just because it's not an impossible game to win. I mean, it's not an impossible game that we could possibly win it, but also I think it'll tell us a lot about who we are and what we have, how we play that they're FBS, but they're still an opponent that's comparable enough to where we could really be competitive. So I'm gonna go with FAU.
I'm gonna go with Howard, just because that's the first game, and this is the first game where Coach Colsey will have the staff of people that he selected. So, and whatever social media things you believe, whether this is a slightly warm seat or not in terms of coming off of last year's performance, just to come out and see how the team performs against a peer and an FCS peer who was just like us, a year and a half or 2 seasons removed from being in the HBCU title game, and a known opponent who's typically tough and running the ball and has a large offensive line. Just understand and see how we come out for 2025 and setting the tone for the season.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with FAU as well, mainly because it's early enough, much to what Tashay said, but also I'm a firm believer in confidence as an athlete. So depending now, confidence can be increased or decreased just depending on how you perform, but it's the indicator. We should be confident enough to come in and be highly competitive. Maybe even get a win out of it, and it gives us an opportunity to give an outlook. So we can be highly competitive with FAU and their level of play. Then hopefully that kind of bodes well for us from a confidence standpoint to lead into our next coming games that kind of flow right into SWAC play. I think if you can get out of there with a win, then our confidence from a fan base and a team and a coach's standpoint, you got to think about it. We have coaches. We have a head coach who is still getting his footing, and game two come out, you compete well, even potentially win. To me, should boost Coach Cozy's confidence even more. Our players should be excited about it and keep that energy flowing into the next games that come along.
Gotcha. I think your best value is Alabama State. FSU's out of town, their crowd's going to be full, stadium's going to be packed, homecoming atmosphere. That's, to me, best value. All right, most anticipated. Then Marcus gave us some analytics, and we're going to hit that. I'm going to let y'all that can share what y'all think about this defensive coordinator question real quick. Don't say if you know something, don't say nothing. But I'm going to let y'all, y'all, EA like to call me good trouble. So, I'm going to let y'all, I won't let them get in trouble. Y'all know me. I ain't scared of no trouble. So most anticipated game. What's the game you got to be at? Your mama, unless something happen, you got to be there. Your girlfriend, your friend, boo, whoever.
Easy.
Everybody got to be
We can't say
there.
homecoming. We can't say
Easy.
homecoming.
Easy.
Okay, we gotta
Easy.
say
It's
homecoming
Jackson.
out then.
Yeah.
You gotta say
Easy. It's
homecoming
Jackson.
out.
Because I was
It's
gonna say,
So it's not homecoming. No homecoming allowed. Everything but homecoming.
It's Jackson. Easy.
Okay.
Yes.
Central for me.
JSU.
I'm going
Easy.
Central.
I'm going
Central.
Central too.
Okay.
I'm going Central.
Okay.
JSU.
Yeah, they got
JSU and Central. Okay. I think I go along with that. I want all of Rattler Nation in that one. So Marcus hit us up with some analytics, and folks kind of talking about the offense a little bit. Offense was mediocre last year. So we got a new offensive coordinator. What are some of y'all's hopes for the offense? I'll let Marcus start it off since you provided the graphic.
I got to make it a little bigger first.
Let's see if we can make this. Let's do
The
this.
orange is the what? The orange
There you
is
go.
what?
Passing
Is
yards.
this
So
better?
what this is a stack bar graph for our total offense game by game, and orange is showing the passing yards and green showing the rushing yards. And the blue line across is comparing. The blue line across is showing our 2023 average of rush yards per game, and the black line is showing the total yards per game average for 2023, comparing to our championship season. So just looking at that, just to see, and I know we mentioned you can see how the trend in terms of the run offense, and even I have some other charts, but I didn't send it in terms of the run pass play ratio. And some of the stuff we reviewed on O&G Strikezone. But you can see like the second half of the season, as Kelvin's noted multiple times, after that Southern game when we actually got over 100 yards rushing, or actually had more. I forgot the stat, but basically that was where the running game kind of broke out a little bit. We did have 112 versus Alabama State, but that was like a defensive struggle. But other than that, we started turning the corner, and then you start to see, Texas Southern and other games where we were at or above our 2023 average of rush yards per game, and things just started clicking. And then the last two games were Bethune-Cookman and Alabama A&M after the change in offensive coordinator. But just to kind of look at that and look at it from the numbers standpoint.
I like what I'm seeing. I do notice, and I think Tashay mentioned it earlier, just the defensive philosophy. And I know you mentioned some of the philosophy or some of the changes from Canada, but you definitely see where Cozy was definitely, after that loss to Valley, he ran the ball. Thad Franklin goes off in that game. Dean has a solid game. Alabama A&M, you also saw something similar. I think the big thing is just going to be turnovers. That was one of the bugaboos about our run game this year. Yeah. We fumbled a lot. I ain't gonna say no names, but we fumbled a lot.
Yes, please don't say no names.
No.
Well, actually, all of them fumbled. So
oh yeah, it was equal opportunity.
Yeah.
It was very diverse and equitable. Plenty of
DI, that was
And included
yeah,
and included everybody.
plenty of
Yep.
inclusion.
Now,
and another thing I noticed when we did have turnovers or fumbles from a run game standpoint, I noticed that we almost never got a return. Like, you know how sometimes you fumble and your lineman or somebody close enough to fall on the ball. We were never close enough as a team to get the ball back, so it was almost guaranteed a turnover. Whereas other teams we played, we make them fumble or drop a ball or something, but they were there to get the ball back, and it just really didn't count as a turnover per se.
And the other part to that turnover in the run game was that it almost always seemed to happen when we inside the red zone.
Yes, that
Mhm.
Missed
Man,
opportunities.
Oh
some
man,
good
No,
custom was happening last year.
no fumbles was rated E for everyone, man.
Now, defensively, y'all asked the question. This is what the defense kind of looked like last year. And that's why I definitely say I kind of hinted that special teams did not do the defense a lot of favors and was probably why some people got a little bit of grace when it came to defensive maneuvering. Lord, Marcus, you want to explain kind of the stats, what we're looking at real quick?
Yes, I'm sorry it's a little jumbled. The colors probably don't mesh as well, but basically looking at our total defense with the green line, the 260.8 being the total defense from our championship defense. You know, and that we said going in, Kelvin and I, Brian and I mentioned that might be hard to replicate. So it's a hard standard to measure against, but it is what it is. So basically, game by game, how much we're giving. This chart does. Oh, it's at the bottom. The legend, the rushing
What's
yards.
gray?
Gray's are rushing yards, how much we gave up.
Okay.
So you can see it got a little bit better near the end of the year, but it was horrible in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And pass yards, and you can make an argument that pass yards not being as much could be a function of us being so porous on the run defense in some of the games. But basically looking at how many yards we gave up on both ways compared to our total defense in 2023.
Okay. So let me see.
And you see it improved a little bit. Well, it improved a lot in the second half after the Jackson State game because we gave up 245 yards rushing. Then after that, it was low to mid 100s, and except Bethune-Cookman, you know, we gave up a lot there, but that was like basically a shootout. But just once again, just comparing how we did last year versus 2023, just as a benchmark to see where. And this doesn't include special team stats. And I know Coach Colsey mentioned when he was on the interview a couple of weeks ago with Kelvin and Brian that special teams after the Miami game, you know, with Trey and Michael sitting out for injuries or for whatever reason, had an impact on field positioning. So then that puts your defense in an even more tenable position. Or put your special teams in a place where you're kicking off the dynamic kick returners from the other team, other SWAC teams, and they take advantage of it versus a touchback.
Yeah. So now, if those who can ask can talk about it. Got some questions. What are y'all thinking about some defensive coordinator options? Y'all know our defensive coordinator has left to go to the New England Patriots. As a matter of fact, in honor of him and Terrell Jennings, I wore my Patriots shirt yesterday. So any ideas for people that you might want as a defensive coordinator? If you've heard something, don't say nothing. But if you are not at liberty to say, don't speak, because what you're not going to do is be like, Keith put the pressure. No, because Keith hears stuff and don't say stuff. So I expect you to do the same.
That's a great question. I don't know enough about the coaching diaspora to know, who would be a good chance. It's kind of unfortunate. I guess fortunate and unfortunate for Coach Patterson that this happened after the AFCA convention. Depending on when he informed Coach Colsey, maybe he already knew at the time, and Colsey put some feelers out there. So we'll see what happens. Just as a quick note for JT, ask if I have a big play analytic graphic. I do. I haven't sent it. We could talk about it on that, but I did look at those and had to scour the play-by-play for each game to figure out what a big play was. So I can maybe present that sometime at the O&G Strikezone. But as far as coaching for a defensive coordinator, he was also a linebacker coach. So I don't know where we are in terms of like the total number of coaches were allowed. I think it's still 11, but Kelvin and Keith correct me in terms of full-time coaches, but you can have assistants. But I don't know where we are versus that number. So I don't know if he's looking to have two separate coaches or to have one to coach a position and be the coordinator.
Well, Marcus, first of all, that rule is changing.
Okay.
They're taking away the limitations on staff. They're increasing it. I can't remember what it is right now off the top of my head, but you can have more than 11 now. In terms of candidates, I've heard a couple of names. I haven't vetted them. Well, one I did, and it's been radio silence on that one, which surprised me. I figured I could eliminate that one right off the bat, but I can't because I always get responses. I ain't got no response.
Yeah.
So that one is interesting. But I'm just throwing a name out there right now, a coordinator name out there now, because I have no inside information on this. I would love to consider South Carolina State's defensive coordinator for this position, and he's a rattler.
Yes.
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 Yep.
I
I
think
said
that.
that.
Okay.
I noticed that last when they were headed into the Celebration Bowl. I was like, I didn't know he was a rattler at first, and then somebody was congratulating him, and I'm like, wait, he's a
Yeah.
rattler? We need
Yeah.
And I think FAMU is a better job. I heard what they make in
Yes.
South Carolina State. And
You see
if
what
you're
Central
watching
coach is
Mr.
at?
Sir, if
That's
you're
right.
watching Mr. Sir, we're just saying. This is
And
Yes.
there's no
brand.
state income taxes. I'm just
Right.
saying.
Yes.
So just come,
Yeah.
and where better to be in Florida? I mean, come on. Orangeburg as opposed to Florida. But only thing I do want to say, and I hope, and I think that, it won't happen. I just hope that we don't fall into this same trap that a lot of swag. Don't be circulating all these coaches around the swag, please. Don't bring us no sweat coach.
And
Don't bring
he's
us none of
also
these.
a linebacker coach. I just,
Yes.
That's even better, right?
Yes.
hey,
Well,
I'm
Yes.
just
put
saying.
us on the hiring committee. We'll make it happen.
Look,
Mr.
Google-
Sir,
Google's your friend.
if you're watching,
If
Mr.
y'all know
Sir,
him, tell him to reach out if he hasn't talked to anybody. yet.
definitely. That was gonna be my if I could steal a couple of people from their staff, I would. But
Yes.
definitely I would like to see him.
And his name's Jordan O'Daffer. If I'm saying his name wrong, forgive me. But he was at Benedict with the current coach there, and then he moved on up. So I think that's a great option. I've also seen some other names. A lot of them have FSU ties, and I'm not that FAMU person that doesn't like people who went to Florida State because Florida State was my first job, so I will forever love Florida State. But I'm not in the business of us bringing on folks who just happen to have no coaching experience to be our defensive coordinator because they have NFL experience. So I'll say it like that. Even though one of them is my classmate from high school, and I think he's a great dude. But I think that's kind of a tough sell when you're selling me that you can be the DC at FAMU. I understand we're not paying what UF is paying, but that's still a step.
Really, Keith, you know what? You are so messy. You just keep putting more and more information out there. Okay?
Hey, if you know where I went to school, you know who it is. If you don't, hey, I didn't go to a lot of schools, so but I'm just saying, like, that's just me. So defensive coordinator wise, I would hopefully expect something in the next couple of weeks, but I don't have any inside information on that. But you definitely want something that somebody's going to want to make a switch and make a change and be able to come over here and kind of deal with what Cozy dealt with last year. Like, this is the staff you got. It's kind of the staff you got to deal with. Just put your philosophy in.
Definitely. As long as you don't get no sweat coaches.
One spin that I've heard though that may be a possibility, and I no inside information, but there is a thought process that he may just hire your position coaches and kind of have someone as a co-coordinator, and Cozy may call the defense on game day.
I can see that.
I can see that.
With it being so late in the game, I was just thinking about that yesterday. I said, man, maybe Cozy might just name himself the defensive coordinator for the season or something.
Either Cozy or I said Billy Rowe. I ain't gonna lie. I told y'all, boy. Look, I I'll walk up in there. Hey man, aren't you getting a check for drop? You about to get a retirement check too. And you gonna get $100 and some $1,000 check from FAMU. I'm just saying you're gonna be making the same as the head coach. You might as well just be the defensive coordinator, less responsibility. I'm just saying you gotta pimp this. Like it's look, Noops ain't no good. I'm tell you straight up. We always trying to find it. Look, we finesse. We good men of the Lord. You know, men of faith. Yo to the good Noops. But at the same point, I'm gonna try to find my way in this. And Billy Roll can still coach his behind off. And this ain't a forever job. Like, hey, bro, you want to do this for 3 years? Maybe 2? Cool. Like, I'm just saying, I throw it out there.
I wouldn't
All
be
you
mad
say
at
is
that.
no.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be mad at that.
No, Kelvin, to your point about if Cozy
Marcus
coaches
Rose.
defense, and it may be young and may not have had enough coaching experience, but the scenario you mentioned, if Cozy coaches it, and we did see Isaiah Major on the sidelines. I don't know if he was a volunteer coach last year, but what if he gets elevated to linebacker coach, and then he's under Cozy as linebacker coach, and perhaps getting tutelage as potential as a defensive position coach. So I don't know where if that's even feasible, or if he would have, or if there's even a role for a position coach at the linebacker, because we've combined in the last few years. But what if he does something like that?
Because I'll say, when they did bring him in around like the Alabama State game, I saw like he was really talking with James Ash and stuff, and I saw improvements when he would go back in the game after they kind of did the little one-on-ones. I think that's a good, very, very good suggestion actually. If we wanted to keep it, kind of centralized with what we already have, I would not mind that at all.
Nayron was a better linebacker.
Nayron, it was
Absolutely.
Nayron was obviously
Nayron
coached up
him,
by
yeah.
him. Like he
him and
came out. He did.
He was 100%. Him
Right.
and James Ash, I really did see a lot of improvement when he would have his little coaching sessions with them. I like that actually a lot.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing Coach Colsey mentioned during the O&G Strikezone interview was that it didn't sound like he was going to go the route of a specific special teams coordinator, but he was going to assign it to someone on staff as a part of additional duties. And I don't know enough about the staff to know who has special team experience to kind of filter out who might that candidate be.
Gerald's
Any
face.
thoughts?
I don't like that.
Gerald's not
That
at
one I
liberty to
don't
say.
like.
So honestly, most coaches
Most-
have coached special teams though. Like, so it's not. It sounds more daunting than it is. Like, some of it is the intricacies, like dealing with the kickers. But I mean, Kelvin, you've coached. Everybody's played football. Kickers aren't head cases, but kickers normally kind of just do their own thing. Like, you just need somebody to really refine it. So I don't really oppose that as much as I'm a little concerned about if you're going to have Colsey as a defense coordinator, then he is pretty much hands off of the offense. And the offensive coordinator has kibosh to do what he wants. And if you trust Burris to do that, I'm cool with it. But if you don't, then that's another question.
Well, and to that point, a lot of people don't know this, but historically, at the FCS level anyway, you don't have a dedicated, because of the limitation of coaching staff, you typically didn't have a special teams coordinator only. That was something new that when Coach Simmons got here, it wasn't that way. He switched to that. But what I will say is that historically at FAMU, when Coach Tony Massini was with Billy Joe and the previous staff, all the way back to Rudy, he was a volunteer coach.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't officially a part of the staff, and he only came in to work with the kickers, and he wasn't the special teams coordinator. So it's not unusual, and I'll be interested to see, because we still have a lot of great people who know the art of working with kickers around in the Tallahassee area, as a matter of fact, who are all Americans who coach, and I know 3 that played at FAMU, so, and they all coached special teams before, so, and they were kickers or opponents or both. So
do you think they'd be willing to come in as OPS, Kelvin? Like, that's just thinking out loud. Like, and sorry to interrupt you, but do you think they would come in as like OPS, just coach the kickers, and then kind of going on about their business?
I believe 2 of them. I know 2 of them would. Absolutely.
Sorry. Look. Stay scheming is the mantra. I always try to find a way to save some money. Look, Rick Ross said it best. All right, so look, we are approaching that time. Ashley, you want to put the graphic back up so we can make sure everybody gets their they shine. Everybody get to be seen. We got Fangs Up. We got Gerald. Gerald, I'm gonna let you go first since I don't have a graphic for Gerald. Gerald, tell them who you are. Tell them what you do. Besides everything, and of course, where you just Gerald is a recent FAMU graduate. He's a member of the first of the first, the Alphas. Uh, good brother though, ice cold. Gerald, tell them about yourself and where they can find you.
Yeah, man. The coverage still coming. It's about to be signing day next week. On the Tallahassee Democrat. So be tuned in. Gerald Thomas III. I'm on Twitter. At 3PG. The number 3, the letter P, the letter E, the letter A, the letter T, the letter G, the letter E, the letter E. So you can follow my work on there. You can go straight to the Tallahassee Democrat website, rattlernews.com. And let's get it. It's about to be signing day. Ready to see what kind of newcomers they're gonna bring in, and then soon we'll be getting ready for spring football. So it's crazy. It feel like the season just ended, but I'm hyped for it. I'm ready to see how this crop of Rattlers do this upcoming season.
Cool. Marcus, Kelvin, let them know. Everybody should know who you are, where they can find you. But let them know just in case.
Marcus.
Marcus Green, O&G Strikezone, one of the trio. I can be found at Decatur_G on Twitter and just about all social media platforms. Twitter, X, Twitter, IG, and Blue Sky.
And I'm Kelvin Roser. I'm with the O&G Strikezone. You can catch me at Roser Kelvin on Twitter, and from there you can find my other handles. O&G Strikezone, 8 to 11 o'clock, even though we say
it's definitely 8 to 11 p.m.
They say
three long hours. So y'all make sure y'all watch us on Wednesdays from 8 to 11. And if you miss a segment, you can always catch us on our YouTube page or either the Black College Sports Network page, and we're going to continue to try to bring you content. And I want to thank my panel for inviting us on, and thank my family and my family, because it's important that we represent and show that to the rest of the Rally Nation that we network and we work together for the betterment of FAMU, Mother FAMU.
That's right.
Cool beans. Well, this day channel, so I'll go next, and I'll let them finish off. And don't forget to put the graphic up there so they can see the Thanksgiving thing that's going on. But I am Keith Hadley. I run the Fifth Quarter Family page. I also run anything titled Fangs Up podcast. I also help the National Alumni Association, and I run one of the boosters, booster and alumni social media pages. So we out here. We definitely go to as many of the games as possible. Always try to support, and just want to continue to encourage y'all to support those who support FAMU. That is one of my big things that was started probably last year, and the year before when Brian and I first met, and just anything that's supporting FAMU, I am here for it.
That's right. And I am Ashley C. I have my partner up here next to me on screen, Tashay, and we represent Fang Exchange. And I want to give a shout out to, I believe it was JT, because JT even made this suggestion to us, and we made it happen in 2 to 3 days in the chat on Thursday, and we kind of was like, let's make it happen. We knew that the schedule would drop. We didn't want to wait till next week when everybody has got their own opinions. Like, let's come out, and this is what it is about for us. Like, we all represent different entities but it all points back to FAMU and our love for our family. So thank you all for coming on and taking this thing and running with it and making it work. Each of you, we're getting some good feedback already. So Kenya said, let's do it again. Let's do this show again. She loved the crossover concept. I've got some text messages about people enjoying this concept. So, we might be able to do it again, maybe close to the season or after spring game, something of the nature where we can come back together in the same form or another form to make sure that we continue to keep the camaraderie, the community. Kelvin said it best. We work together behind the scenes. We might join on separate podcast shows, days and times, but we really do work together behind the scenes to make sure that we have it all together. So thank y'all again for joining us on an unusual day and time. Thank you all panel for coming in and taking the invite. And Tashay, I don't know if you have any words, you're welcome to.
Yeah,
add some words.
everybody like the stream, okay? Right now, like the stream. Follow every single platform that has been talked about here. Like Fang Exchange on X, on Instagram. I mean, follow. I'm sorry. Follow Fang Exchange on Twitter, on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Subscribe. And then, of course, as always, donate to Thanksgiving. We are moving into the last month actually of Thanksgiving. So if you have not already picked a tier, please pick a tier. Donate. It's up on the board. I mean, on the screen. Use the QR code. It'll take you right to the website so that you can give. We can only do what we can do with what we have. So if you want to see a good product on the field, we need to be a part of that. And a part of it is NIL because it is what college football has evolved into. It's not going anywhere. So we do have to make sure that we are staying with what's going on and what's trending. So pick a tier, give to the Thanksgiving campaign to support FAMU Rattler Athletics.
Also, don't forget to make sure that each one of us on this panel have a podcast show either a different time. Some might be same day, but we strategically made sure we were doing this at a different time so that you all have an opportunity while you're cooking dinner at night on a Wednesday night, while you're cooking dinner at night on a Thursday night, that you can kind of interact with all of us. And Gerald is always showing his face on either one of our platforms at some point to give his insider as much as he can give to keep his access,
Right.
opinion and insight. So make sure that you're like looking out for all of our podcast shows. Subscribe to all of our shows on YouTube. Just click the subscribe button on Fangs Up, on Fang Exchange, as well as O&G Strikezone. And make sure you put on the reminder as well so you can view. Like, this is a part that helps us as a community. We're family. We're built on love and camaraderie and community. So let's keep it up. Social House Vodka is still out there, so don't forget about that. And if there's not anything else, Keith, I don't know if you have anything you want to put into the mix.
I think all hearts are clear. Like you said, we have a smorgasbord of FAMU stuff. So if you ever get low, we have Rattler boosters. We will continue to have that on the HBCU digital page, but it literally goes through the week. You have the 220 Club. You have O&G Strikezone. Normally those shows, so you get a little something in the morning Wednesday, get something that night Wednesday. So, little breakfast, little dinner. Thursday, you got the Fangs Up podcast, followed by Fang Exchange. Then Sunday, come back and start the week again with the Fangs Up podcast. And Gerald drops something every day almost. So you are literally inundated with information about FAMU from people that cover FAMU and that know people on the inside of FAMU and who are gatekeeping. So, there's no other nice way to say it. Sometimes we don't say stuff because we know that it's not right. So, but yeah, so, and not saying other people don't know. They do have their connections. They do be knowing. So, but with that being said, man, if you got a Fang Exchange outro to play, hey, I think it's a good time. And, as always, y'all, it's always going to be Fangs Up now.
Fangs Up.
Sure.
Y'all later, Rattlers.
All right, y'all.